that quiz went well. In this next section, we are going to look at some of the language and literacy skills that are taught in small groups and think through how we might plan a small group for our class. Remember that the standards progression is listed in the Essentials Gradebook, and this is also where you can access lessons. When you come to the home page, click the small plus sign to see the data. You then click on the gray box. It would open the small group lessons and the checks for understanding. This shows the standards progression and includes links to the lesson, where you can click on the book icon to access the lesson and check the boxes for students' answers. This is new this year, so your mentors might still be adjusting to the new format. We will review this in our practice time together this week. Let's dig a little bit into some foundational skills. Rhyme awareness is an important foundational skill. In the rhyme standards, students must first develop word awareness, then rhyme awareness, which is the child's ability to hear rhyming words in songs, poems, and nursery rhymes. Below is an example of a rhyme awareness lesson. Rhyme awareness is an essential skill for pre-K 3. Next is producing rhymes with real words, which is an essential skill for pre-K 4, followed by discriminating rhyme, and finally producing rhyme using nonsense words. As you can see in the lesson, all of these things are covered. These standards live in the lesson. Compound words is the next advanced skill. First, students must be able to identify words within compound words, then combine two words to make compound words. These two skills are essential standards for pre-K 3. Here is an example of a compound word lesson on combining compound words. After students have mastered blending compound words, they may begin to perform elision or segment compound words with pictures and perform elision with oral assistance. For example, my word is cupcake. What is cupcake without cup? It is just cake. These are pre-K 4 essential standards. Let's take a look at this lesson. The initial and final sound standard is a more advanced standard and comes later in the progression. Before practicing this skill, students must first have a firm foundation of phonemic awareness. In this standard, students must first identify words that have the same beginning sound, then produce words that have the same beginning sound. These two standards are the pre-K 4 essentials. Pre-K 3 does not have an essential standard goal for initial and final sounds. Here is an example of an ECR lesson. After students have mastered identifying and producing beginning sounds, they can start to manipulate beginning and ending sounds. As you can see in this lesson, what other words begin with the f sound? We reviewed this in the last video, but I want to review it again. Remember, you can view these skills by opening up standards in the ECR platform. The phonological awareness skills are the two shaded boxes of blue. Phonological awareness is broad and more encompassing that includes syllables, rhyme, and phonemic awareness. Phonemic awareness, which is the lighter blue, is the knowledge that words are made up of a combination of individual sounds. For example, the word sun is made up of 3 sounds or phonemes, s, n. All phonological skills, including phonemes, are practiced without a relationship to written letters or words. It's just the sounds that the kiddos are focusing on. Phonics is the relationship between letters and sounds as it relates to the written word. Phonics is used when a reader comes across an unknown word. For example, an early reader using knowledge of phonics to decode the sentence, a sun. By blending the letter sounds, s, n, phonics is highlighted in green and introduced in the accelerated literacy content, which is highlighted by our language and literacy reading and writing standards. We took a look at this last week, but I want to show it to you again. In addition to the dashboard, you can see the progression, students' progression in the gradebook and also on student reports. This can help you communicate to parents the skills that their child has mastered and the skills they are working on and the skills they will work on in the future. As we close out our time together, before we meet in person, we are going to look at a small group math lesson and in the discussion board, think through how we might plan a lesson based on the students in our class. On the discussion board, you will review the ECR compound words lesson that is linked below, identify the standard, introduce the model, and practice. And then, if you have time, please include a little note about how you might differentiate this lesson for students in your classroom. I'm looking forward to seeing you all this week. Take care.